Hey guys, hope you're having a great day. Your old buddy Tim back with another video. And in today's video, I want to answer a question that I seem to be getting more and more these days. And that is this: Tim, as a seller, is it still a great time to sell my home? Now, I did a video, I don't know, a week or so ago talking about from a buyer's perspective, is it still a good time to buy? In spite of the interest rates, in spite of what's going on with the economy, at the end of the day, yes, it's still a great time to buy a home. But what if you're a seller? What if you sat back last year and watched the market frenzy? You saw houses going up for sale, selling within one day, multiple offers going way over asking price. Is it still a good time to sell? Well, the short answer is, yeah, it's still a good time to sell. The long answer is the frenzy is over and the market is different. Now, we talk about this a lot. You know, it's January, February in Alabama, slow time of the year, but things are really starting to pick back up. Interest rates have caused a lot of buyers to pump the brakes. People are just going to sit a little longer before they dive in. And so the frenzy that was 2022, if you were a seller, those days are gone. Do I think they're gone for good? At that level of frenzy, I think they might be. However, what we're seeing is a return to normalcy, a return to reason and logic and reasonable expectations. You know, if you are a seller, you missed the frenzy, but it's still a great time to sell. But you're going to have to kind of adjust your thought patterns there just a little bit because, again, last year was it was an anomaly. You know, we had a perfect storm here in North Alabama. We had a 20-year low of inventory combined with an all-time high of folks moving here, and it was a perfect storm. There was low inventory, a lot of demand. Of course, when that happens, you see prices go this way. You know, appraisals were being thrown out the window. We had people relocating here from larger metros with buckets of cash, and they literally blew the market out of the water. All right. It was a time of insanity. Again, we're seeing a house would go on the market at 9 in the morning. We'd have 20 offers by lunchtime, and we'd have an over ask price by close of business. I saw houses here literally go $75,000 over asking price because people wanted the house, they needed the house, and they had the cash to spend. Appraisals were out the window. It didn't matter. I saw a lot of appraisers standing out on ledges. Of course, here we don't really have high rises very much. But again, it was a crazy time. Things have settled down. The market's slower. Interest rates are causing people to pump the brakes. So if you're a seller, you've got a couple of things still working for you. Number one is we are still low on inventory. It's still a seller's market. You know, I think the last time I looked at the MLS, we had maybe, I don't know, a month and a half worth of inventory, meaning that if nothing else was put in the MLS, most of those houses would literally be gone within 2 months. So we still have low inventory, all right? We still have high demand. We've still got a lot of buyers in this market, and we still have folks moving here every month from all over the country. So there's still a demand for housing. So you've got those things going for you. Talk a little bit about what you have going against you. Of course, we talk about the high interest rates a lot on this program, but remember, mortgage companies are working to figure out how to get around those high interest rates. They're offering buy-down programs. They're offering ARMs, different compensation packages. So they're helping. Okay, the mortgage companies still want to write mortgages, so they're helping make it easier to buy. But there are some things you're going to have to do as a home seller. The first thing is this: you have really got to change your mindset if you are still stuck in the frenzy of last year. Because again, those days are gone. Those days are gone. Okay, so we're in a much slower market now. Again, a return to normalcy, a return to logic and reason and all the things that typically drive a market. We're getting back there. So you've got to adjust your thinking. Okay, you really have to forget last year that the house across the street sold for $50,000 more than your house is worth, because we are returning to the market. And here's the thing, guys. I don't make up home prices. You don't make them up. Well, you might try, but you're not going to get what you want. It's all about the market. The market means what were prices within the last 12 months of comparable homes. Now, you got to remember this as well. When realtors like me in these crazy markets are comping homes now, we have to take into account that last year was somewhat of an anomaly. Okay, it might have set the bar a little higher, but we always have to keep in mind now that homes still must appraise. So just because your house might have sold for $500,000 a year ago doesn't mean it's still worth $500,000. All right, your house is worth, number one, what someone will give you for it, but typically your house is going to be worth what the market says it's worth. Remember, the market is all about numbers without emotion. If you take emotion out of the equation and just look at the numbers, that's going to tell you what your house is worth. So when you decide to sell your home, the first thing you should do is call someone like me, a real estate professional who has access to all of the data in the market going over the last few years. We can look at your home, we can look at the comps, we can come up with a reasonable, logical, accurate market price for your home. So first thing you've got to do, be reasonable. All right, the glory days are gone. It's still good times, but you got to be reasonable about what you can expect to get from your home. You've got to price to market, not emotion. Did you hear that? You have to price to market, not to emotion, meaning at the end of the day, if the emotion is taken out of it, and last year was an emotional roller coaster for a lot of folks, but now we're at a market where the emotion is not going to drive the price. It's not going to dictate what happens. It's all about the math. All right. And buyers are going to expect to get deals in this market. All right, that's not saying that you have to drastically cut the price and expect to be taken advantage of, because that's not the case. But buyers are aware of what's going on in this market. And so when they look at your home and their agent looks at what you're asking and looks at the comps, the offer that you get on that home is going to be aligned with the market. And in some cases, the market without the frenzy. All right, we're actually going back to look at comps now before all the craziness started. Your market may be different. That's just what we're doing here in North Alabama. So, number one, price to market, not emotion. Number two, remember, appraisals are back. Last year, appraisals went out the window. Appraisals were being waived on almost every deal. Prices were just skyrocketing, lots of cash. Well, those days are gone. I've said that 14 times. Appraisals are back. So you have to understand that your house must appraise, okay? And that is if someone is getting a loan to buy your home. So you have to keep that in mind. You can ask whatever you want to ask, but unless you've got a cash buyer, if you've got a buyer that's requiring a mortgage, there is going to be an appraisal, all right? Number three, seller, you've got to be ready to negotiate. All right. Before the market frenzy, negotiations were all over. I mean, everything was negotiable. The price, the repairs, the closing company, the time to close, all of that was negotiable. Well, guess what? That is back. So you must be ready to negotiate on a variety of points. Remember, a real estate transaction isn't just about price. There's a whole lot more to it than just price. Okay. There are other factors involved. Closing costs, time to close, lending fees, repairs, that's going to be a big one. Repairs are back. So you must be ready to negotiate. All right, your house should be priced fairly, fair market value. You should be able to get what you are asking at fair market, but then you've got to be open to negotiation. One thing that we're seeing quite a bit are sellers who are willing to contribute to closing costs or just offer cash incentives to help buyers alleviate the pain of the interest rates. So you've got to be ready to do that. Be reasonable, be flexible, and be ready to negotiate. Next, you need to be ready to possibly make concessions and repairs. And again, this is just the market going back to where we were year before last, when every deal usually involved some kind of concession, either a contribution to closing costs or repairs or what have you. So you've got to be prepared to do that again. Okay. Typically, when someone makes an offer on your house, they're going to do an inspection. Typically, that inspection generates a repair request, and typically, you must be willing to negotiate that. Remember, every point, everything is negotiable in a real estate transaction, and there are different points where it can just completely fall apart. So that's one of the big things that you need to ask yourself is, what is important to you? Is it important that you get the absolute most money you can? Is it important that you get this deal done quickly so you can move on in life? Is it important that you net a certain amount? Are you moving into another home? You need that money. What is important to you? And play to that. Keep that in mind if you are being asked to negotiate or pay for a repair. What's the most important thing at the end of the day? All right. Last year, the most important thing was ringing the most you could out of every house. So keep in mind what's important to you, money, time, or what is it? Finally, the market's going to pick back up. I have no doubt. We had a good January here at Revolved. So I think the market is going to come back to normal levels, and I think it's going to happen relatively quickly. We're still seeing homes, some homes go quick. We're even seeing homes with multiple offers going over ask. Luxury property, about $500,000 and above, we're seeing it sit a little longer, but luxury property has always sat on the market a little longer. So one other thing I want to give you a little advice on, and this is one thing that I tell all my sellers this, and they're like, nah, I don't know if I want to do that, and that's this. Think about having an inspection done on your home before you even put it on the market. So you can identify all of those things, big and small, that may come up once a deal is on the table. All right. If you can do an inspection report and take care of all of those little things that might cause big headaches later, it's a good idea to do so. Spend a few $100s on an inspection report so you have a clear picture of your house and what you are trying to sell. Here's a good example of why you might want to do an inspection and make repairs before. If you identify all of those things that are wrong and you take care of them ahead of time, it is going to cost you less money and less headache than if you do them during the deal. Had a client once, everything was working perfectly, had the inspection. Well, the HVAC unit had some miles on it. It was probably 15, 20 years old. I mean, it still had some years left. It was operating fine, no problem, still blowing cold air. Well, they had an inspection on it, and they had an HVAC company look at it, and the HVAC company, of course, said it's old, it needs cleaning, it's not doing this. Well, the buyers came back with an inspection report and a repair request, and they demanded that the HVAC unit be replaced. Now, this HVAC unit, it was about an $8,000 replacement, and the seller finally ended up conceding because they really needed to get the deal done. But I talked to the HVAC guy who actually went out for the sellers, or for when there was a problem, and he said, well, it's a little low on Freon. The compressor is fine. Everything is good to go, And he told me, he said, I could do a $300 or $400 service on this, and it's going to be fine. Well, the buyers would have nothing to do with that. They refused to believe that it could be serviced and it would last another 5 or 10 years in their minds, because their inspector had found all of these things wrong with the unit. Even though it was serviceable, they wanted it replaced. So if the seller had done an inspection and had the HVAC unit serviced, odds are that HVAC unit would have passed with flying colors and he would not have been out $8,000 to replace it. So always a good idea to know what you are selling before you get to the bargaining table. So think about that. Think about getting an inspection just for your own peace of mind. It's money well spent. Again, a few $100s. Come up with that inspection report. Look at the little things you can do. You know, when we flip a house here, Chelsea and I, what we try to do is get all of that stuff taken care of. You know, we always do an inspection on every house we buy, and we fix, I mean, everything that needs to be fixing that we think could be an impediment to the deal, we take care of. Well, if you are a seller in this market, not a bad idea for you to do the same. So, all right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Hey, if you like what we do here on the channel, do me a favor, click the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and click the little bell, and you'll never miss another video. If you are in the market to buy or sell, whether you are already here in North Alabama or you're moving here, we work with a lot of relocation folks coming off this YouTube channel. Give me a call. We've got Revolved Realty here, almost 100 agents now. Can you believe that? When I started doing these videos, I think we had 20 agents. Well, we're almost at 100 now. And every one of them is a great agent, and they are ready to go to work for you, as am I. Just let me know. My contact information is below. So, and if you are here and you need help selling your home, or you would like to talk to me and one of my agents about listing your home and really talk about everything we covered on this video, do me a favor. Give me a call. My number is below. No obligation. Happy to come out, take a look at your home, give you my opinion, bring some fair market comps with me, and that way you know what you've got to do in advance to get your home sold for the most money and the least amount of time, which is always our priority. So, all right, guys, that's it. Hope it was helpful. Look forward to your comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.